My flight was supposed to be at 10:41, and I'm not going until 6:30 unless I get the standby tickets. Or no, they gave me a standby, so I'm gonna. And they said, "What am I supposed to do?" She said, "Just stand there and beg to get on the flight."
Beg to get on the flight. That's such comforting advice. Air travel for millions of Americans, like the woman you just heard from, impacted, and that's putting it mildly, by the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. Staffing shortages leading to flight delays, cancellations, and the like. I want to bring in our political panel to discuss this and more. Joel Payne, CBS News political contributor and Democratic strategist, and Fred Upton, formerly served as Republican congressman representing Michigan, also once chairman of the Energy and Commerce Committee, and he brought pizza. The last time you were here, Fred, you said you were going to bring pizza.
Well, it looks like a pizza.
Where's it from?
Pizza place. Well, it's from Detroit.
Okay, it's Detroit style. It's Detroit style pizza.
It is, and Jets Pizza is a Detroit franchise. So
very good. Not a sponsor, at least not yet.
Yeah, that's right.
Joel, you heard Hakeem Jeffries talk to our colleague John Dickerson and say the fight isn't over. A lot of activist Democrats feel the fight is over, and it's essentially a cave-in by the Democrats, at least in the Senate.
It is a cave, and you know, what's so problematic about this is you asked people in the activist community, in your grassroots space, to hang with you on this fight, to have your back, to show up on No Kings, to make calls, to send emails, to vote on election day.
Yeah.
And to somewhat pull the rug. Look, I used to work in Senate leadership. I totally get the legislative realities and the challenges that go along with this. You can't yo-yo your base that way. And you cannot fall short of expectations of people who are expecting you to fight in a different way in the Donald Trump era. And I think there is a significant trust problem that still exists on the Democratic side.
Fred, as you watch this play out, did you think Democrats were creating unrealistic expectations for that very base that Joel just described?
Yeah, I thought they caved. I did. I mean, what did they get for it? I mean, they got a promise that they're going to have a vote on these ACA, but
Affordable Care Act,
the tax credits, the subsidies. But you know what? They still need 60 votes in the Senate. They're never going to get 60 votes, so they're never going to get a vote to pass it, which means the House is never going to take it up. Not that the Speaker would have taken it up anyway, but because it's not going to pass in the Senate, it's
so
done.
You had maximum pressure that was being applied to Republicans coming off of a bad election day, coming off the president who had to go to the Supreme Court to get the Supreme Court to give him permission to not pay out SNAP benefits to potentially starving members of 40-something million
42
people
million Americans
who would be impacted by SNAP. And you relented the pressure, and it just reflects such a lack of imagination on the part of elected Democrats. And I can't tell you the fissure between elected Democrats and people at home who want to see something different after the same old song.
Fred, you have said...
Axelrod said that Schumer's probably done.
David Axelrod, on another network.
My constituent.
Right. You sat in lots of conversations with House Republicans during shutdowns, and you heard from the activist base of your party, gnashing their teeth, wanting to fight on, and you, I'm sure, I'm going to assume, we're a voice to say at some point, ladies and gentlemen, we have to govern. And govern is hard. And when you govern and you compromise, people are angry, but you have to do it at one point or another.
That's right. That's right. And the Democrats really got nothing out of this thing. I mean, they really got nothing, except we had a shutdown that impacted millions of people, whether the air traveler that we just saw on your tape, or people that are RIFT and, air traffic controllers.
Reduction in force,
and for nothing. I mean, millions of people were really
Could they have
hurt.
handled it strategically any differently?
Yeah, I think
Or do you think they ultimately were going to have to cave and accept these terms no matter what?
They should have demanded that they actually get a vote. I mean, I think they might have asked for too much to begin with versus targeting their approach a little bit narrower.
Preventing people's health insurance rates from spiking the amount that they're going to spike because of this is not too much. And I will just say this, Chuck Schumer's problem is this. If he lost control of his moderates, that's a leadership problem. If he organized his moderates to bail him out, that's a leadership problem. And everyone can see right through it, regardless of what the story is. And I think that's the issue he's facing right now.
Let me put to you the question I put to Ted Lieu, because he kind of sidestepped it, and I understand why. These extended, enhanced Obamacare tax credits first showed up in the American Rescue Plan, early Biden administration dealing with COVID. Then they came back in the Inflation Reduction Act. Democrats were in charge of the entire situation. They set the termination date of December 31st this year. Not Republicans, Democrats did. Don't they own that termination date?
Well, I think they're trying to work with Republicans to do a bipartisan extension of it. But here's actually, and I heard that
they didn't pass on a bipartisan basis. They passed on a partisan basis.
Here's the thing I will also say. President Trump, and I think Congressman Cole alluded to this, had an interesting idea around giving the money directly to constituents, to people at home, to citizens, as opposed to insurance companies. And I would just say, I would not be surprised if you saw that idea get a lot of traction. It's galling, I think, to many on the progressive base that Donald Trump has been able to somewhat outflank Democrats on this. Get to the left of Democrats on the ACA. But be that as it may, I saw Ro Khanna on a rival network talking to an anchor who you might not think he'd talk to, talking about his desire to work with Donald Trump. I wouldn't be surprised you saw a lot of momentum around that.
So we have to wrap, I'm told, which means we get to eat pizza during the break, which I'm going to do. Joel Payne, Fred Upton, thank you very much.
Next time.
You bring whatever you want, sir. You have full license to bring whatever you want.
I would have voted against prohibition.
You deliver the pizza.